A busy day for the US Secretary of State. In a speech at the French military school in Paris, she pressured China into supporting US efforts against Iran.
China will be under a lot of pressure to recognize the destabilizing impact that a nuclear-armed Iran would have in the Gulf, from which they receive a significant percentage of their oil supplies. That it will produce an arms race. Other countries will feel the necessity to seek their own nuclear weapons programs. Israel will feel an existential threat to its very existence. All of that is incredibly dangerous.
Later, she and the French foreign minister went further.
As you know, we are working in New York as well as here in Europe on sanctions which we will present to the Security Council.
Que nous présenterons au Conseil de sécurité.
Countries that feel strongly, like France and the United States feel, may wish to do more.
But of Israel, Clinton wouldn't be drawn.
Do you think that all of these problems would be much, much easier to deal with if a permanent solution could be found to the crisis in the Middle East? Do you think that Israel is now so powerful politically, so well funded, that it can actually afford to ignore you, President Obama, President Sarkozy, Foreign Minister Chna, and completely go its own way? And if that is the case, at what point do you think sanctions should be raised against Israel? Thank you.
Well, let me start by saying that we had a very thorough discussion of the Middle East. We are committed to a two-state solution.
Hillary Clinton spent a minute and a half responding to the question, but this was the closest she came to actually answering it.
So I don't think it is useful to talk about any other actions.
The US Secretary of State has spent much of her time in Europe this week lobbying major powers whose support she needs to pass and enforce new economic penalties against the Islamic Republic. So there you have it. Plenty of strong words against Iran for allegedly trying to develop a nuclear weapons program and for human rights abuses. But no talk of sanctions against Israel for allegedly already having a nuclear arsenal and for human rights abuses last year in Gaza and over decades in the illegally occupied Palestinian territories. Mark Votier, Press TV.